Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney. Oh man, last time we did the investigation for the second day and Alita's looking a little shady right now. Also, Wocky is not doing so hot. He could die at any moment. Genuinely. So yeah, that's pretty bad. Pretty bad. But today, the trial continues. This is it. The big day. Did you get any sleep? Yeah, I went to bed at 1 a.m. or so. Ooh, wait a minute, let me make sure my audio is fine. Okay, it is. Oh? What time did you wake up? 3 a.m. That's only 2 hours, Apollo. But at least you have me. And the amazing Mr. Hat. Here's looking at you, kid. Good luck today, Apollo. That voice. Oh. Hey, get any sleep? Mr. Wright. I was going out of my mind with boredom, so I saw myself out earlier today. Somehow that place makes fake piano playing at the Indoshine pasta joint seem almost fun. Daddy, do you know who Prosecutor Gavin's witness is today? Take a guess. How about Little Plum? That Sherman tank of a mom? Nope, guess again. That's too bad. You know, speaking of moms, you need to find me a new mommy one of these days, Daddy. It's barely morning and you're at it already, Trucy. Okay, see, this is why I don't buy their father-daughter relationship. So, Mr. Wright, do you know who the prosecution's witness is? Alita Tiala, your client's fiancée. She's going to be a witness? But that seems odd. Why would she testify against her own fiancé? You have to wonder what Gavin's up to. Something's going down today. That much is clear. Well, not to worry. I've got my panties back. If we can't find a killer, I'll pull one out of there. Please don't. Alright. Whew, let's go. Court is now in session for the trial of Wocky. Defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution is warmed up, and it's a sold-out house. Very well. To recap, while yesterday's witness seemed more guilty than any other party, guilty of panty snatching, we did find out one thing for certain. There were 3 people in the park at the time of the murder. The witness, the victim, and the defendant. Correct, Herr Judge. And today I'd like to do something a little new age. I'd like to look at this horrible crime from the outside. The outside? The acquisition of the murder weapon, the preparation for the act. Our poor defendant told all, you see. To his betrothed. His betrothed? His fiancée, Herr Judge. His partner for life, with no chance for parole. Very well, you may show the, lucky lady to the stand. Your name and occupation, Fraulein? Alita Tiala. My occupation is future wife. Ah, traditional values. I respect that. Too many brides these days can't even weave baskets blindfolded. Underwater. Yet you're here today as a witness for the prosecution? To be honest, I didn't want to testify at first. But I couldn't hide the truth. Honestly, another admirable trait. Fraulein, is it true that on the day of the crime, the defendant Wocky confessed his plans? His plans for murder? Yes. The witness will please give her testimony to the court. Thumbs up. It was the day that the family health checkup results came back. When Wocky found out that Dr. Meraktis had lied, he flew into a rage. I'll teach him, he said. He took one of the family's pistols. And You already know what happened that night. I just don't see how anyone but Wocky could have done it. So the pistol did belong to the Kataki family. Then, yes, with regards to this, an investigation is underway at the Kataki mansion on charges of the possession of illegal firearms. And the bullet that took the victim's life, was it fired from the pistol the defendant procured? Yes, this has been proven. How can you prove something like that? Bullets carry marks from the barrel that fired them, called rifling marks. Rifling marks? Think of them as being a gun's fingerprint left on every bullet it fires. Deja vu, wasn't this an exact, like, dialogue thing in the first game? And when did you first hear about Wocky's plan? It was the day of the murder. I should have stopped him. I just didn't think he would actually do it. Very well. The defense may begin the cross-examination. Okay. Wocky found out Dr. Meraktis lied, flew into a raid. Teacher me said, took one of the family's pistols. You already know what happened that night. I'm gonna need you to be a little more specific. What happened, meaning the murder. I tried to stop him, I really did. But Wocky wouldn't listen. Our defendant was nothing if not determined, it seems. The last thing you should do is blame yourself, miss. Oh, we're not gonna get no specifics? Okay. How can you say that for certain? How? Yeah, because that's right, she wasn't there, so it's conjecture. Hair forehead, you'll refrain from badgering the Fraulein. It was the defendant, Wocky, was it, who took the pistol from his home. We know this for a fact now. I suppose we do. So, how could anyone else have used this pistol to shoot the victim? They could not. Simple logic, yeah? That does seem to be the case. Does the defense have anything to say regarding this point? Could someone else have used that pistol? There was another. Based on your testimony, there was clearly another. Based on her testimony. One other person had access to that pistol. What's this? Interesting. Let's ask the defense then. Tell the court who this other person with access was. Oh shit. I mean, it's anyone in the Kataki family. She's not in the family yet. I just went for it. What's this? What? The boss and his wife? Ah, an unexpected ploy. Apollo, that can't be right. Why would they want to frame their only son? Oh. On his parents' behalf, I'd like to... They gave me the old rope-a-dope. But, I mean... I didn't say anything about them framing him. Just that, like... they had access to it. His finger. I'm gonna risk another penalty. If I'm operating at a deficit, then so be it. Well, of course, I mean, you, Miss Tiala. Me? But why? She's not married into the family yet, though. I mean, you were quite clear when you told the court. You heard about the pistol from the defendant on the day of the murder. In other words, you knew what he was planning. Let me get this straight. You intend to tell us that this lady stole the pistol from her fiancé and killed a man in cold blood on his behalf? I've heard of people doing strange things for love, but this... It does seem a bit unfathomable, to be sure. I'm all for romance and for supporting your partner in life, to be sure. But I think I would hesitate at murder. I'd hope you do more than hesitate. But what if a different connection could be proven? A connection between the witness and the victim. We might find that she had a personal motive beyond wanting to help her fiancé. That's good to put things in a slightly different light. What possible connection are you suggesting here? You know what I'm starting to think? I'm starting to think that the police never looked inside that safe. I have evidence showing a connection between the witness, Miss Tiala, and the victim. That looks like a medical chart? Found inside a safe at the Meraktis clinic. I'd like to draw the court's attention to the names written on the chart. What? Miss Tiala? Whatever. Why is your name on this chart? Ooh, she's sweating. Well, care to explain the meaning of this, Miss Tiala? I'm not sure what you mean by meaning, Mr. Justice. Our warm little fiancé just froze over. I was on staff at that clinic until half a year ago. It was boring, so I quit. That's all. Is there a problem with that? Miss Tiala, you testified that you had no connection to the victim. And I don't. Now. Now? I quit half a year ago, didn't I? So there's no connection. Let me guess, you're the kind of guy who can't rest until he knows every last detail of his girlfriend's past. Am I right? That's not true at all. Why, I embrace the ones I love, past flaws and all, no matter... There's no connection now. Doesn't fly in a court of law. Doesn't fly? She's one tough nut. She probably feels right at home with the Katakis. You left your job at the Meraktis clinic, true? But you remain connected somehow. Very well, Mr. Justice. Show us evidence that proves the witness is still connected to the Meraktis clinic. Oh boy. I mean, this was in the clinic. These sandals were found in the Meraktis clinic lobby. They're yours, aren't they? Well, who knows? I'm sure there are lots of people with those sandals. So sorry, Fraulein, but your act isn't working. Your moment of hesitation just now cost you. What's with you? I thought you were on my side. Perhaps you are unaware that toes leave toe prints. A simple analysis of these sandals will reveal all. Well, now I see your true colors. I was wrong to cooperate with you from the beginning. I just wanted you to help get Wocky back on the straight and narrow.
This court thinks you need to worry less about Wocky and more about yourself. It sounds as though we need to hear a bit more about your story.
Your sandals were found in the entrance to the clinic, which means you went there on the day of the murder. Well, there's little point in denying it.
Very well. The witness will tell us about this visit. Why did you go to the Meraktis clinic that day?
Alright, here we go.
I did go to the clinic that day, my first time in half a year since I quit in January. I went to warn him. After all, I knew Wocky had the pistol. The doctor always was a timid man, too timid to admit his own mistake. Why else would I have gone? I'm not hiding any dark secrets. I wanted to tell him to be careful, as an old friend.
By mistake, you mean the mistake we heard about from the defendant? The botched operation?
He was a timid, small man, but I never wished him harm. I just thought I should let him know, you know?
It does make sense. Yes, but there's still one thing which does not. What's that, Prosecutor Gavin? The sandals left in the lobby, of course. We can assume she wore these sandals to the clinic, yeah? Then why does she not wear them home? If it were me, I would have worn them home. I would have worn those sandals home, too. One moment, please. Well, that was annoying. I would have worn those sandals home, too. So, why were the sandals left behind? You pointed out the contradiction before me. There's probably a good explanation for this, right, Miss Tiala? Say, for instance, there happened to be a similar pair of sandals there which you wore home by mistake?
Actually, that's right. I'm impressed, Mr. Gavin.
Oh, it is nothing. There is, after all, no other possible explanation. Yeah, forehead? Oh, what the? No fair. He's filling the holes in her testimony. The defense may begin the cross-examination. You go to the clinic that day, first time in half a year since I quit in January. Went to warn him after all. I knew Wocky had the pistol. The doctor always was a timid man, too timid to admit his own mistake. Else would I have gone? I'm not hiding any dark secrets. I want to tell him to be careful as an old friend. I'm gonna press on this. No dark secrets, eh?
What? Look at me however you want, Mr. Justice. You won't find a thing.
She's hiding something. I know it. I must have some evidence that proves it, too.
You're free to think whatever you like. I went to that clinic with only one thought in mind.
I want to tell him to be careful. But then you'd be betraying Wocky, wouldn't you?
No, I did it for him. For us.
She went to warn him so that her fiancé would not have to commit such a crime, yeah?
I don't want them to take my Wocky away.
There's no way she went to that clinic just to warn him.
You know why she went, Apollo?
Trying to figure out what really happened at that clinic, and fast. Okay, let's press on a lot of this then. Around what time did you go to the clinic?
I don't remember exactly, but it was after 9:30, I think.
And that was the first time you had contacted Dr. Meraktis in half a year.
Of course it was. He wasn't the kind of boss you made friends with.
So why did you go to the clinic that day? So she went around 9:30. Did you want Dr. Meraktis to run away?
Well, after I failed to stop Wocky, I thought that was the only other way to avoid the problem.
Couldn't you have called? Why go in person?
I called several times that evening, but no one was in.
The victim was busy driving home until after 9 p.m. that night, remember? This was proven by this mirror yesterday, yeah?
I thought if I warned him, he would run away for sure. Knowing the doctor.
He's a timid man, too timid to admit his own mistake. You mean that act of malpractice on Wocky, correct?
If we had just told Wocky the truth in the beginning, none of this would have happened.
True, that operation was the start of this whole affair.
Oh, of course, if he told him. He might have been erased by the Katakis much earlier.
A disturbing thought. We know that the Meraktis clinic had ties to the Kataki family. He probably couldn't have gone to the police, even if he wanted to.
That's why I knew I had to warn him.
She's not hiding any other secrets. I mean, we found her prints in this. I'm gonna take a risk. Nope. What am I missing here? Because I figured that would be right because it's her toe print in that slipper. Oh, like that's a secret because like we found that slipper in the park. Oh boy. I mean, this is another thing that she might have been trying to keep secret, her involvement, because I mean the fact that this was in a safe, but I mean, A, we don't have a motive. Oh no. I'm a little stuck on this one, not gonna lie. And not to mention, there's the whole thing of you don't really submit one piece of evidence twice in a row. But that has happened in the past. I'm going for it. Objection! Okay. Alright. So my logic checked out. Okay, this chart was found inside a safe in the doctor's office.
Yes.
Why would this one chart be in that safe? Miss Tiala, you know why it was, don't you? Mind filling me in? Dr. Meraktis didn't have the leisure of making mistakes. That's why he wrote up a false report and kept the truth locked away. Bad hair, Doctor. And this is where you come in, Miss Tiala. The nurse who filed this chart was you, which means you knew about Wocky's failed operation. Interesting. You were in the same position as Dr. Meraktis. Kinda makes it hard to claim no connection, doesn't it?
You're bold for a novice, I'll give you that. Mr. Justice, you must know I was only a nurse. The doctor is responsible for the chart's contents.
This chart business seems to be quite important. Please amend your testimony accordingly.
Too bad, little attorney.
Uh-oh. My bracelet's reacting again.
What is it, Apollo?
I felt my bracelet vibrate just now.
Your bracelet?
Just like yesterday. Like you said. When a witness is unsure of something, their nervous habit gives them away.
But I can't see anything, Apollo.
Eh? Then what's my bracelet reacting to?
Wait, maybe... Yes, that has to be it.
What has to be it?
Your senses, Apollo. They must be sharper than mine.
Huh?
I can't see it, but you can sense it.
I don't know about that, Trucy. I don't have some kind of special power or anything.
Listen to me, Apollo. There's a weak point somewhere in Miss Tiala's testimony. We don't know whether or what her nervous habit is.
Well, then what do we do?
You have to perceive it yourself, Apollo, with your eyes and your senses.
And it's up to me and my bracelet. I don't know why, but the bracelet helps. Somehow, touching it helps me focus. Let's give it a shot and bring down that testimony. To the clinic now for a half-year-old chart. Yeah, her hands are crossed. But your signature was on that chart.
So, what does that have to do with this case? If there was something in that chart to make me look bad, I would have dealt with it. The only one responsible for that chart is the presiding doctor, Dr. Meraktis.
She's hiding something, I can smell it. I bet she's got a habit that gives it away. Just have to focus to find her nervous habit. Maybe it's time to give my bracelet a rub. Yep. You can't really spell it out even better than that, man. Okay. Booyah! Bracelet time. Yeah. She was twirling the ring.
Gotcha!
I had a feeling because she folded her hands for that. I didn't notice anything on her face, like any kind of twitch or anything. Why go to the clinic for a half-year-old chart now, you ask? But you know why you would go now, don't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It was quite clear, Miss Tiala. You have a nervous habit. The moment you said the word now, you used your right thumb to fiddled, okay, with your ring.
What?
She was unsure. I saw it. Now. That's the key word. The chart wasn't a part of your past. It was a clear and present threat.
That's ridiculous. Why, if that were the case, I would have had 6 months to do something about it.
Indeed.
Eh?
Which means something happened quite recently. Something to make that chart a problem for you now. I've got her on the ropes now. I can feel it. Time to strike the killing blow with evidence. Miss Tiala, there's no use trying to hide it. The chart became a threat to you now because of this. Wocky's checkup report. A health checkup report belonging to the defendant. The dad was on the right track by doing an emergency health checkup. The Katakis are trying to get out of the business. The health checkup this month was their first ever. What did you think when you heard about this?
Nothing. Why should I think anything?
Oh? I think you were positively beside yourself. Because you were afraid. You knew what Wocky's chest x-ray would reveal. A full half year had passed since the operation. You thought you were home free. When the chart came back to haunt you. We gotta scream. That's all, Your Honor. Well, what just happened? Did the witness just admit to lying? I sensed it. There was a great aura emanating from her forehead. Very cool. So the lady was lying, it seems. That's correct. She said she had no connection to the Meraktis clinic. But her connection was deep indeed. A bit too deep. If the Katakis got a hold of this chart with her name, she'd be finished. Isn't that right, Miss Tiala?
You guessed it.
Order! Order! I did it. I broke her testimony.
Amazing, Apollo. I didn't see it at all.
No, she's still way too calm about this.
Daddy was right about you. Wait!
Miss Tiala?
It's true, that chart was bad news for me. That's why I went to meet the doctor that day. But that's all. I told him about Wocky and went home.
It appears this cross-examination is far from over.
What?
She hid the truth from us, that is clear, yet it is not clear that this truth has anything to do with the case at hand. Very well, the witness will add this to her testimony. And we'll have a bit more cross-examination. I was so close.
You're still close. Keep on her, Apollo.
Nothing happened at all. I warned him and left. How did Dr. Meraktis respond to the warning?
Oh, he was quite surprised. Panicky, even. Who wouldn't be scared to learn a Kataki was after them?
Incidentally, this court is not afraid of any mobsters. Why, we had a life-threatening situation just yesterday night. Or just yesterday, right here in this courtroom. Yeah, real impressive the way you stood up to the attack of the amazing Mr. Hat, sir. After which I carried you back to your chambers. Sounds like the judge had quite a fright. Nothing happened in Dr. Meraktis' office that day, huh?
But what about the mess we found? Something definitely happened in that office, Apollo.
I know. But we can't prove when it happened.
Or that Alita Tiala was in any way involved. Well, let's try putting some evidence up anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna try this because the fact that it has a broken bowl means that like some kind of fight went down. Or not. I'm mad about that one. Okay, I mean, I guess we do have this. I kind of always glossed over the fact that it was squished from the impact with the back of the safe. I mean, that's evidence, but it doesn't do anything about the time. Though Trucy did allege to that. Oh, maybe she tried to shoot open the safe? Oh, okay. You say nothing happened in the doctor's office. I disagree. Take a look at this.
What's that? It looks like a squished up ball of clay. Kind of like you, actually.
This bullet was found in the Meraktis clinic office. Something did happen in that office, Miss Tiala. Enough of this joking around. The police investigated that clinic. Ah, but this was stuck inside the doctor's safe. Inside the safe.
I guess the police didn't check that far.
But there is a problem. How can you say that bullet was fired on that day? Weren't you the one who explained rifling marks to us? The pistol was taken from the Kataki mansion that day. The marks on this bullet match the murder weapon, and that proves a firearm was discharged in that office on the day of the murder. Not bad, Hair Forehead. Bailiff, have this bullet analyzed immediately. 30 minutes later, a report arrives. The rifling marks on both bullets are identical. Uh-oh. Well, it seems as though the bullet in the safe was fired from the murder weapon. Perhaps the defense would like to state their position? The bullet in that safe proves one fact. A pistol was fired in that office on that day. And at the time of the firing, the safe was open. The safe which contained the top secret chart. Do you think someone was threatening Dr. Meraktis in order to open the safe? Only one person was in a position to do such a thing. Our witness, Alita Tiala. Order! 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 Mr. Justice, where are you going with this? Are you accusing the witness? Alita Tiala knew about Wocky Kataki's botched operation. She got engaged to him without telling him about it. As long as that bullet remained in his chest, his days were numbered. What if she married him and then the bullet finally reached its destination? What? That reminds me. Apparently the Katakis have been asserting themselves on lawful business practices. They are making quite a great deal of money. A fortune, if you will. Nefarious! So she planned to marry him just to get her hands on this fortune? You keep talking trash about my Alita, and I'll sue you, lawyer man. Huh? Me? Yeah, you said you'd abuse my Alita. I think you mean accuse. Same difference, but you can't have her. She's mine. It was me. I shot that doctor. Me. He left me to die, so I let him to die too. There in that park. Wocky, just cool down a second. You keep your hands off my Alita or I'll... No, Miss Tiala?
I'm sorry, it's been so long since I've laughed so hard.
Something funny?
Wocky, wake up and smell reality.
Alita baby?
The signature on the chart, the engagement. I mean, come on, it's so obvious. Even for a brainless, spoiled brat such as yourself.
Alita? Your honesty is like a breath of foul air, Fraulein.
Hey, I wasn't getting out of this clean anyway.
So, the family fortune is what you're really after?
That's right. I wanted the money.
No way. That's whack. I ain't trying to hear that.
Should have done the wedding earlier. Oh well. By the way, can I ask you a question?
Who? Me?
I believe you said you were going to abuse me.
Accuse.
Of what crime, might I ask?
Huh?
Oh, I'm a bad girl, sure. I got close to that brat because I wanted his money. But he was the one with the pistol. He could have fired it into the safe after I had already left the clinic.
What?
I would never do a thing like that. It was definitely that silly brat.
Wait, but...
What are you talking about?
Trucy?
You had the most to lose if that chart was found. But I didn't have a pistol now, did I? Well, you could have taken Wocky's. You'd think he'd have mentioned that, no? All I've heard him say is, "It was me. I shot him."
It's only because he's trying to protect you. Sorry to intrude in this lovely conversation. But the two of you are forgetting one critical point.
What point?
Certainly, the Fraulein wanted that chart. You assume she threatened the doctor into opening that safe, but then... Wouldn't she have taken the chart? Oh! You see? That chart wouldn't have been left in that safe. He's right. Miss Tiala?
Yes?
It is clear to this court that you are not a very good fiancé.
Oh, I'm flattered.
Perhaps it's time you told us the truth? Tell us about yourself, including your actions and whereabouts on that day. Don't forget, we've proven that you were at the Meraktis clinic on the day of the crime. Meraktis Clinic 2.
Yes, I went to the clinic that day to speak to the doctor. I wanted that chart, but I failed to get it, so I went back to the clinic later. In any case, I didn't shoot him. You don't even have proof I stole the pistol, do you? And that brat was spotted in the park at the moment of the crime. Frankly, I don't think it matters if Dr. Meraktis was shot in the temple or not.
You went back later?
That chart was dangerous, you understand? I needed to get rid of it. That's why I went that day.
But you couldn't get the chart then, could you?
And later that night, Dr. Meraktis was shot. I found about the shooting, waited a day, but then I had to go back. No easy feat with the cops all over the place.
Ah, that was you? Breaking and entering. Okay, then. So you were the burglar.
That was you two? If only I had one more minute. Then I could have opened that safe and gotten the chart.
What? That's trespassing, and brazen at that.
Oh, is this a trial for trespassing now? Besides, you can't blame a girl for wanting to protect herself. They are gangsters, you know.
In any case, Mr. Justice, your cross-examination. Admitting the little crime to avoid the big one, eh? One moment. Alright, let's go. In case you didn't shoot him, you don't have proof I stole the pistol, do you? This is an interesting thing. The doctor was shot in the right temple, yes?
So it seems.
Let's review the facts again, shall we? If the killer shot from this location, the bullet would have struck our victim square in the forehead. However, the entry wound was in the right temple. Yes, we heard testimony on this yesterday. At the time of the shooting, the witness was standing here. Just before the gun was fired, he shouted. The victim turned his head to look, and was shot. Yeah, no, but we learned that Wesley was, but that testimony was proven to be a lie. Our egregious panty snatcher, Mr. Stickler, did witness the crime, but he was standing to the north, next to the trash can where he tossed those panties. If Mr. Stickler shot it from this location, the bullet couldn't hit his right temple.
Silly, silly attorney.
What?
Do you remember what you had for breakfast that morning?
Do you remember, Trucy?
I always have a glass of milk for breakfast. What matters is one thing. The doctor was shot in his right temple. If that's the case, there can only be one explanation. The panties guy was mistaken.
But his location was proven. You can't write that off as him being mistaken. Objection! Then why don't you show us, Herr Forehead? Show you what? Must I explain everything?
Very well, let's recap.
If the witness, Panties Guy, was standing to the north, then where was the shooter standing? From what location did the killer shoot the victim? But wait, the witness was standing there, how could anyone shoot the victim in the right temple? I merely laid out the facts for us. It is up to the one possessing the shiny forehead to show us. If you can, that is. Wocky Kataki was standing at the killer mark, Leslie Stickler at the witness mark, and of course Pal Meraktis was at the victim mark. Let's hear what the defense has to say. Where was the killer standing when they shot the victim? Someplace else. By process of elimination. As the fact stands now, we can't explain this crime without contradicting ourselves at some point. But I know why. The real killer shot from an entirely different location.
What are you talking about? I don't see any other place.
Apparently, Mr. Justice does. Let's hear it. Where in the park did the killer shoot the victim from? It's time to raise the roof and the stakes. I don't like the sound of that, so we're going to safety save. Okay. Penalties are such frightening things, don't you think? But what if they were a bit more terrifying? You can burn in hell, you son of a... Like so. Double penalty! Her forehead wishes to take us in a new direction? Then he must be ready for the challenges ahead. Challenge accepted. It's justice time.
Are you sure, Apollo?
The key is the witness, Mr. Stickler's testimony. If we believe that, and we know where he stood, and the victim turned when he shouted, there's only one place the killer could have been. The killer shot the victim from here. The stand. This better freaking count. Like, you better count the whole stand. I believe we all owe a debt of gratitude to Miss Alita Tiala.
What do you mean?
Thanks to you, we had a chance to review the crime. And this time, we were prepared. Because, yeah, that was a good point. Like, we never revisited the fact, like, what would happen if he were to call him from that side of the park. And then we just took it for granted, like, oh, yeah, he was just shot in the head when he turned and looked. But it was the right temple, not the left. We know that Wesley Stickler was telling the truth. We should have listened to him from the beginning. Wesley Stickler was standing next to the trash can when he saw the two men. He shouted, just as he told us in his testimony. And the victim turned to look in his direction. A shot was fired. The victim was hit in the right temple. Oh, and that does explain why he was leaning forward, not backward. Oh. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, yes. Which direction was his right temple facing at that moment? That's right, toward the noodle stand. Order! 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 So you're saying the killer was inside the noodle stand? Let's think about this a bit more, shall we? You say the killer was inside the noodle stand, which would mean the victim, Dr. Meraktis, came to the park, wheeling his own murderer in that cart behind him.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I think you'd notice if you were pulling someone along.
There's something we should worry about before that. Why was he pulling the noodle stand in the first place? Let's deal with our problems one at a time, shall we? Someone was hiding in the stand. We have not come this far to talk about possibilities. Let's talk about proof, baby. Show us evidence that proves someone was in that stand. Can I prove that? You want evidence that someone was in that stand? I don't think I have proof for that. Also, plug in the 3DS to charge it up. I don't know why the DS with the capture board is able to charge when plugged in through USB, but not the 3DS. Oh well. Well, too bad. Kidding, just kidding. I've got it. Phew, close one. Let's see it. Show us proof that someone was hiding in the noodle stand. I have proof, apparently. Oh, the footprint. Because it was found right outside the cart. The stand facing away from it. And then we know it had to be there that night because of the yellow paint on the other side, which was there from the accident. So yeah, the footprint was facing away from the stand. So for it to be facing away from where the stand was with paint and like just in an awkward way, how close it was, that means like the only way someone could have left that print was if they were hiding next to the stand or were hiding inside and getting out. Please? Okay, the music didn't stop, but he's looking pretty sure of himself, so... the Meraktis clinic, and they're covered with paint. These slippers were found in the trash can near the crime scene. And a single slipper print was found at the scene. Right next to the noodle stand. Heck! Oh, Miss Tiala? Your toe print was found in the left slipper. Urk! In other words, this is proof you were inside that noodle stand. Yet, there was only one slipper mark found at the scene. Can this be called a footprint in good faith? Observe the diagram. The park pathway runs next to the slipper mark. The slipper wouldn't leave a trace on the cobblestone path. Yet you still cannot say this is a footprint, yeah? Why not? You have an impression left by a single slipper. But if But if it was on the stand and simply fell to the ground? That's just dumb. One more thing. A noodle stand is typically cluttered with the tools of the noodle making trade. There's no room for a person to ride in there. You have a point. Could someone have hidden in that stand? Apollo, I think I might be on to something. I think I figured out one of our pieces of evidence. In order to make room in the stand, some things would have to be... Well, Mr. Justice? You have proof that someone could have hidden in the stand? I can prove one thing. Someone did scheme to clear space in that stand. spaced out for a minute there, but Chekhov's noodle ball? I mean, it was chipped, and Eldoon wouldn't let any of his things be, like, in bad quality. Oh, wow, okay. This is a noodle bowl from the stolen Eldoon's Noodles noodle stand. Yes, and what about it? We discovered a large quantity of these bowls yesterday. Oh, yeah. In the lobby of the Meraktis clinic. A large quantity of noodle bowls in the victim's clinic? Mr. Eldoon was very clear about those bowls. Oh, yeah. And plus, not to mention, Meraktis wasn't buying noodles from him. I don't care who did it. Without this stand, I'm finished. All my noodle bowls were in there, too. Wow, that's a detail. Yet the bowls were removed. That night, there was space inside that noodle stand. Space created at the Meraktis clinic, no less. Right around the time that you were there, Miss Alita Tiala.
Stop! I don't listen to any more of these wild fantasies. No, not fantasies. They're worse lies than that spoiled brat's pickup lines.
I would like to remind the witness of her current status. This court does not consider you entirely innocent.
Show me an innocent, I'll show you a fairy tale.
In any case, the defense has somehow made its point. The witness had both a motive and an opportunity to kill Dr. Meraktis.
More fairy tales. This whole trial is a fairy tale.
Then please, pull us back down to reality, Miss Tiala. I'm giving you one last chance to explain yourself. This is it. Why was Dr. Meraktis pulling that stand that night? And what was Alita Tiala doing inside it? Time to get to the bottom of this case.
That night, I went to ask Dr. Meraktis for the chart. I had no intention of ever letting that chart fall into the Kitaki family's hands. But Dr. Meraktis didn't understand. For some reason, he thought the Kitakis had sent me. So I gave up and went home. All I did was talk to him.
You knew about the botched operation, so you tried to get rid of the chart to save yourself.
I won't make excuses. And I did warn the good doctor. I gave him a chance. I told him that Brat got his health checkup report and that he was coming to settle the score.
I see. Very well, Mr. Justice. Begin your cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. This is the last testimony. Either I perceive the truth or it's over. Let's see what she's nervous about. No. That's interesting. He didn't understand? I'm just pressing on the suspicious stuff.
He wouldn't listen to a word I was saying. The moment he saw me, he started to tremble. I thought, what a sad excuse for a man.
Please don't smile like that anymore. It's creepy. Is that what he said? It's creepy? Alright.
He is practically delusional.
Press on that. If that was really all that happened, what were all those noodle bowls doing there?
How should I know? There weren't any bowls when I went, I know that much. Why don't you let me be and go look for your killer someplace else, alright?
Do I deduct uncertainty there? This is my last chance. Okay, alright. Just have to press on the suspicious stuff. Here comes justice. I didn't notice much. I knew it was the little, like, neck shimmy thing there. All I did was talk and lie.
What? Show me proof.
I'm pretty sure about this one. I think I'm getting the hang of this. A little slip in confidence, and they give it all away. The proof is very you, Miss Tiala.
All I did was talk to him.
Oh, that's not Alita. Sorry, they both begin with an A. All I did was talk to him, you claim. Yet you can't hide your own nervous twitch when you say those words.
My twitch? What are you talking about?
You would have a height, or... Oh my god, why can I not read? You have a habit of scratching the area of your neck around the edge of your scarf.
What?
This is working better than I'd hoped. Her unconsciousness... Wait, what? Okay, let's try again with a little more competency. Her unconscious actions tell the truth she won't say. Habits and lies. 2 dots. Connect the dots and find the truth.
Don't look at me like that. I told you the truth.
It seems that when you recall what really happens in that office, you can't keep your hands off your neck, can you? Seems that nervous habits are unconscious reactions that manifest when someone is trying to hide something. You can't hide behind your scarf, Miss Tiala. Something happened between you and the victim in the Meraktis clinic office. I've got proof that shows exactly what happened. It had to be the lamp.
What's that?
You're touching your scarf again. There is something unusual about this lamp. I stand by that being a blood stain on the cord. The bulb is broken, and there's a red splotch on the cord.
Eh?
Seeing how you hide your neck, I think I can come up with a plausible explanation for the lamp's state.
Well, spit it out. The talking in circles nonsense is killing me.
Very well. The answer is very simple, Miss Alita Tiala. Please remove your scarf. We got her. This is a trial to determine what happened in that park. Yet we seem to have drifted off target. We'll find out soon enough if we're drifting. As soon as the witness removes her scarf.
I won't do it. This is insane. I'm an unrelated third party. You can't order me to remove my clothing.
Miss Tiala, I'm afraid you've forgotten what's already been proven.
What?
You're hardly unrelated. Please remove your scarf.
No. No!
I knew it. So I was right, wasn't I, Miss Alita Tiala? Your neck. That isn't what I think it... Oh, that's the judge. Your neck isn't what I think it is. Something did happen that night at the Meraktis clinic. You needed to get that chart back no matter what it took. Even if you had to steal your fiance's pistol to do it. But wait! Look at this lamp in the witness's neck. Looks like the very opposite happened. Exactly. The victim in the clinic that night was this witness specifically. You tried to threaten Dr. Meraktis and he attacked you. That's what happened that night at the Meraktis clinic. Order! 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 Will someone please tell me what really happened?
I told you the truth already. I went to the clinic that night to warn Dr. Meraktis. That gangster knows everything. He's coming for you.
Looks like my clinic's seen his last patient.
We have to get rid of that chart. Quick, open your safe. Give it to me.
So you can save your own instead?
What?
I know what you're up to. You want in with the family. And if they see that chart, you're finished. Leaving me holding the short straw. But if I'm going down, I want someone... I'll want some company. You. And what happened next?
He jumped at me and knocked me to the floor. Then he took that cord. Pal Meraktis was serious. Deadly serious. He really tried to strangle me. I must have blacked out.
So, you were the victim. And the red splotch on the cord was your lipstick?
I didn't want to remember that night. That's why I didn't bring it up. There. Are you happy now?
Eh?
I was out cold. Almost killed. And you claim I then snuck into that noodle stand? How could it? How could I, rather?
Usually you see the question mark, exclamation, question mark, but alright. Well, one thing is clear. We now know what really happened at the Meraktis clinic. It would seem that our victim was not entirely without blame himself.
I'm sorry. I get so nervous just thinking of it. It's hard to breathe. I've told you everything. Can I go home now?
You bear some responsibility for events that day, true. Yet if you were also a victim, this court will owe you some sympathy. Well, Mr. Justice, I believe this clears up the remaining questions for Miss Tiala. When did this happen? Suddenly everyone's sympathizing with her.
I don't know what to think anymore, Apollo. I mean, is that it? Do we know everything we need to know about Miss Tiala?
Very well. This finishes the cross-examination of this... Like the suit isn't sharp enough. Not so fast. This party's just getting started. Now we rock. What? This music, though. Those spikes on your head are softer than they look. Or do you not have the stomach to go all the way? Prosecutor Gavin? Meraktis choked Alita Tiala. She fell unconscious. But what happened next?
He's right. There is more we don't know.
But she was choked hard enough to leave that mark. She would have been out for a while.
Even still, what if it was her in that noodle stand?
Alita Tiala half dead. Dr. Meraktis pulling that stand. And a bullet fired from inside the noodle stand. If I told you it's all true,
you might have already figured out what truly happened that night.
This Alita Tiala, as you can see, we're not through with you just yet.
You really want to blame me for this murder, don't you? You too, Prosecutor Gavin.
Me? Fraulein, I only wish to know the truth. Well, let's go back over what we've learned up till now. On the day of the murder, Wocky saw his checkup report, from which he learned about the bullet still inside him. So, he took a pistol from the family stash, with the intent to gain Dr. Meraktis some of his own medicine. Or attempt to give Dr. Meraktis his own medicine. And Miss Tiala heard about this from Wocky, so she went to the Meraktis clinic instead of him, in order to get rid of the chart with her signature with her signature. Okay, I need to stop recording late at night. But then, something happened.
Sounds like you figured it all out. Remember, I was the victim. I was out cold.
But what about Dr. Meraktis? That does seem to be the problem. He had just strangled Alita Tiala, perhaps he thought to death. What did he do after this crime? I was just knocked out,
not dead.
From the state of his clinic and the scene in the park, I think it's clear what the good doctor did next. Welfare hair forehead? Care to guess? Well, Mr. Justice, what did Dr. Meraktis do? Maybe he did think he killed Atari Tiala. Have evidence to show what he did next? I mean, the only thing I can think of is him getting a different stand. Or not a different stand, but rather the stand because he couldn't drive away. This was found in the car's exhaust pipe. Let's try. This evidence shows what he did next. Oh, okay, well. Alright, safety save then because I'm dumb. This is why I should not record at night anymore. This is sick desperation. You're not wrong? Alright. What did Mr. Right do? Maybe he did think he killed Alita? No evidence to show what he did next? Unless he stole the stand to get rid of the body? Oh, alright. As his next move, Dr. Meraktis stole Guy O'Doon's noodle stand. That seemed a little too simple, but sometimes I guess the simple answer could be the right answer.
What? Killing me disturbed him that much? So much he randomly stole a noodle stand?
It wasn't so random. Remember all the bowls in the clinic's foyer? Bowls that belonged inside that stand? I think it's pretty obvious, don't you? That stand was at the clinic. However, the question is, why did he remove the bowls? Maybe because the stand was heavy? Or he wanted to put something in the stand in their place. Ah. Wait, you don't mean... I do. Dr. Meraktis did replace those bowls with something. Your corpse, Miss Tiala.
My corpse?
Dr. Meraktis panicked. He thought he killed you. His next move would be to dispose of the body.
That's crazy talk. You're all crazy.
Then let's think about it logically. The doctor had a place to dispose of you in mind. But on his way there, who should he run into but the defendant, Wocky Kataki? I question your logic. What's this, Professor Gavin? The park is a dead end. Why would he head in that direction to begin with?
That's right. He had no reason to go there. Oh, now I get it. It was a trick. That spoiled brat made him do it. He made the doctor steal the stand.
Tell me, why would someone go to a dead end? Unless the park was his destination.
What?
Apparently the defense has an idea. Tell us where Dr. Meraktis was headed with this stand. Here, please show us on this diagram. Where exactly was the victim dragging that stand? Is that water over there? There? That's a river. Yes, Your Honor. I scarcely need to explain why. A perfect place to dispose of a body.
He's going to throw me into that river?
He didn't have many other options, Fraulein. I believe this clears up all the remaining questions. The victim pulling the stand and the defendant before him. And inside the stand, you, Miss Alita Tiala.
Irk.
And then, the denouement. Wesley Stickler of panty snatching fame walks up. Seeing the two men, he shouts. In that instant,
So, I shot him?
you were the only one who could have stolen Wocky's pistol. It had to be you. Well, Miss Tiala.
Nice work.
You mean, I'm right?
I mean, you've done a fine job dreaming up a story. To get that spoiled brat off the hook. You're the one who's dreaming. Apollo's backed up everything he said with facts. If you're so sure he's making it up, give us another reason. Why was Dr. Meraktis pulling that stand through the park? Who knows? But there's one gaping hole in your logic. I think Mr. Gavin knows whereof I speak.
Where of what? I can't believe she's still trying to deny this. Is this true, Prosecutor Gavin? Must I always be the one to point out Herr Forehead's errors? Maybe there really is something. I believe the Fraulein speaks of Herr Doctor's car. His car?
That's right. The Meraktis Clinic has that big garage.
In which sat a green sports car, was it?
Why would he steal the stand in the first place? If he wanted to carry a body, he would have used his car.
And so we find our victim without probable cause to steal that stand. He couldn't take his car though because the exhaust was plugged. And our defense without the case.
I have an idea. You know that green car? I bet it wouldn't run. It was broken.
But an excellent counter argument, Fraulein. Too bad you're quite wrong. Don't tell me you've forgotten what happened to your daddy.
Daddy?
That's right. That night, the car that hit Mr. Wright was that green sports car. Oh, yes, I'd nearly forgotten about it. After that, he drove it back to that garage. It ran fine.
That's right. So why didn't he use his beloved sports car, huh?
So then we're probably going to use the cell phone. To do the thing. Also, I've apparently run out of space, and the computer didn't tell me. Great! It's only 40 seconds. Alright, at least the audio will be fine. Just one moment. And back. Sorry about 30 seconds of still image. A glaring contradiction, to be sure. More glaring than your forehead. No. No! Come on, Apollo, use your brain. Order! 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 Well, Mr. Justice, why didn't Dr. Meraktis use his car to carry the body? Is that the groan of surrender I hear? Some advice. Now's a good time to review all you know. Everything you've learned over the last 2 days. Everything I've learned. Mr. Justice, this contradiction casts doubt on your entire case. This is truly your last chance. The defense will explain to us what happened that night. The car didn't run. It's simple. I've been saying this for the past, few parts. I have an idea. It's all coming together. That night, Dr. Meraktis couldn't use his car.
Ha! Now you're making even less sense than usual.
Not according to my information, Miss Tiala. Put one and one together and the explanation is simple. If it's so simple, perhaps you can show us some evidence? Show us proof why the car wouldn't run that night. Want to make sure. Retrieve from the clinic garage. Found the exhaust pipe. Booyah. Panties? Again?
All sorts of things come out of my panties. Even the truth.
That is a line. Another crime was committed the night of the murder. The theft of these panties. The latest in a string of similar thefts, actually. But that night, the snatcher was caught in the act. A brave young girl chased the thief until he hid. In the Meraktis clinic garage.
What?
The snatcher hid the panties there before running. Perhaps someone in this court remembers where he hid them. Why, weren't they found in the car's exhaust pipe? Exactly. By the way, I learned something yesterday. A very important piece of information. And I learned it from you, Prosecutor Gavin.
Oh, so you were here investigating?
And I was on my way home when my hog gave up the ghost. Your hog? The motorcycle won't start. A clogged exhaust pipe.
Too bad. It looks like such a nice bike, too. Hard to believe that it could break just from that.
Cars, motorbikes, they're all the same. Clog the exhaust and they won't run.
My, how interesting.
While Miss Tiala and the doctor were struggling, the panty snatcher snuck into the Meraktis garage. From that time until the time we found these, that car wouldn't start.
What? That's why Dr. Meraktis had to use the noodle stand. It was the next closest thing he could think of.
Well, Miss Tiala? This wraps your doubts up quite nicely, I think.
So it does. Where Where am I? So dark. Can't see. Cramped. The pain. My throat's burning.
What's your problem? You, Doc. I know what you did.
Wocky?
You lied to me. So you know what I'm gonna do?
I'm gonna give you a taste of your own medicine, man.
Well, wait, let me explain.
Fine. I'll give you your last request. Listen.
You're being tricked, but not how you think. It's not just me.
No. He'll ruin everything. I have to stop him. Ceases wants you too. Funny, this isn't the way it was supposed to turn out. Oh well, too bad.
There is still one mystery. How'd you manage to disappear from that stand?
In the silence after the shot, I heard the witness running.
I believe we heard as much from Wesley Stickler. He went to use a public phone to inform the police.
Which is when I made my escape.
Which is when you left that slipper print.
Dr. Meraktis didn't bother taking my slippers off. I threw them out after I stepped in that paint, though.
That was your mistake.
No, my biggest mistake was coming to you for help, Mr. Justice.
Eh?
I believed in you. You and your anything agency. If anyone would get Wocky declared guilty, it was you.
Wow. So she was just relying on him being inept? I believe we've reached a conclusion of sorts. Prosecutor Gavin, how's Miss Aaliyah Tiala doing?
She's confessed to everything. We're processing her arrest now. Prosecutor Gavin sure seems calm for someone who just lost.
I think he already knew. He figured out she was the killer a while ago.
Some advice, now's a good time to review all you know.
Everything you've learned over the last 2 days. He lost, but I didn't exactly win either.
Something the matter, hair forehead?
Looks like it's time to announce a verdict. Oh, okay, no build up for that. It was like, alright, fine, I gotta say something. Not guilty. Court is adjourned. Alright.
Great job, Apollo. You did it!
Yeah, we did. Somehow.
Wocky's off the hook. Free to become the gangster he's always wanted to be. And he has you to thank.
Hey, attorney man.
Gonna pay for what you did, my leader, Holmes? Or to blame, I guess. You gave my leader, or you give my leader back. Stupid pointy-headed attorney with a death wish.
Enough, Wocky. Had a feeling it was gonna be him.
Ah, Mr. Kataki.
It's high time you opened your eyes, Wocky.
What do you know, old man? I think it's about time you open yours. Giving up the life trying to become some kind of businessman?
Don't talk about what you don't understand, Wocky.
I'm afraid the guard is going to throw them both out.
If not in jail, wouldn't that be a happy ending?
Hey, maybe we can help them out. You know why Mr. Kataki needs to make so much money? Maybe we should tell Wocky. Oh, Wocky, Paul has something to tell you.
Huh? I do? Way to put me on the spot.
Eh? What's that? Show him the reason why, Apollo.
Why is Mr. Kataki trying to become a businessman? Is it to fund a better operation so that he'll live? Think about it, Wocky. Think about your condition. I talked with your mother, Little Plum, yesterday. It pays, but we need a lot of money right now. Clean money, that is. She doesn't mean. You aren't really. Are you? I searched the globe, and I found one. A doctor who can take that bullet out of you, Wocky. But it's an expensive procedure.
Man, but you got plenty of money already, don't you?
I won't use it. It was the gangster life that did this to you, Wocky. I want to help you, and I want to do it clean. Please understand, Wocky.
Dad. Man, I see how it is, old man. Always you looking out for...
Wocky?
Listen good, old man. One day, I want to take you out. Then we'll see who's the OG. You try to hide in your business suit, I'll find you. Stupid old geezer. My... Wocky.
No, it's as it should be.
Mr. Kataki. I liked him more without the puppy dog eyes.
I'm glad to have met you. Not so good with words, but I know a professional job when I see one. Thank you.
Who? Me? I don't think...
Someday, I'll bake you one of our latest, the Kataki lime pie.
He's opening a pie shop?
So long.
I mean, were they going to have to work really quickly to get that money if Eldoon is to be believed? And he was gone. Well, let's head back, Apollo. To the Right Anything Agency. Hey, since when do I work at your agency? Aw, they make a good team. Don't just stand there. Let's get going. Huh. Why not? She did help me out. And there's a few questions that still need answers. Like this power of mine that she showed me. And my bracelet. If anyone can help me figure it out, it's her. Though I can't say I care much for what her father has become. Oh, that's right. We have to go someplace first. Huh? Where? Why, to claim our reward from Mr. Eldoon. Ah, salty noodles. Right. You got a stand back already? Oh, and after that, you can come and see my show. With a special appearance by the amazing Mr. Hat.
Oh, it's special, all right.
Please, anything but him. That seemed to wrap up a little too quick, not gonna lie. Like, Turnabout Serenade is next, but yeah, like that was a good trial and everything, but Wocky is very close to death, according to Mr. Eldoon. So, yeah, and he's still sort of like at odds with his dad, but the dad's like, it has to be this way. Teens will be teens, even though he's 19, but it's like... That just resolved a little too quick. But hey, I mean, at least I didn't get a game over. Oh, yeah. Nice. But yeah. I look forward to see what comes next. Sorry for an abrupt outro, but that was kind of an abrupt ending to that chapter. To me, at least. To me. But regardless, thank you all for watching. Have a great day. And I'll see you next time for some more Let's Play Apollo Justice Ace Attorney when we go to Turnabout Serenade. Goodbye.